episodes from my childhood house continue. Welcome back to Lucas Tigers and Bronze. Oh my, episode 872. Literally approaching 1,000, which seems incredible when we first started this on Zoom. Cage was actually told me a story. He was driving to the Philly show, and believe it or not, what he listened to was the pilot episode that we had. Any
Just
thoughts?
to,
Anything?
just to hear it. I mean, I wish we could delete it, to be honest. I said something in there that I wish I could take back. But other than that, it's good. You know,
Was
it's
it
just
how stupid I am? How much I know nothing about cards? How dumb Tyler Hero
it's
is?
not about you. It was not, and you didn't get the Tyler Hero in the pilot. You got there pretty quickly, but you weren't there in the pilot. No, the pilot.
Do you remember that, Cage?
I will say this.
Everyone's like, does this guy know anything else except for Tyler Hero?
Well, because we had 10 episodes and 4 of them you took. It was like it became like a Tyler Hero love show. I do remember that, definitely. But no, I mean, it's funny how we made some promises in there and we've delivered on almost all. Like it's funny to think back. Like we did a pilot. We're like, oh, this is what the show is going to be, and we said it was going to be short form, quick hitter, which clearly I can't do anything short form. Remember that? It was going to be 15 minutes.
This is short form.
Yeah, we were like, it's going to be 15, 20 minutes. We're like, it's going to be quick. But everything else, I mean, we went away from picks and plays. Maybe we'll go back to that. I mean, I talked about, like, we're going to make you money. If you listen to us, we're going to make you money. You're not going to lose money. And
I got to play today.
So, but I don't want to make those promises. Like, that's like, not financial advice. Do your own research kind of stuff. And, we've really gone away from that. But the other stuff we talked about, how it was going to be a conversation and how we're going to talk about, like, the hobby journeys and, the whole, like, it's amazing to look back. Like, we have done that. And for us to be like, say, this is what we're going to do. It was an interesting, it was an interesting listen because we were just like talking to ourselves at the time. So I'm glad that we kind of followed through. I'm telling you, it was
in a lot of ways, I meet people in this industry, and I was at Art Basel, and I met some people in like the art industry, NFT, crypto, who want to start podcasts as well. And honestly, in a lot of ways, to simplify what we have to do on a daily basis, I do try to talk to myself. I just try to talk to my younger self and try to give advice to what could I have avoided then? What could I have, if I had known this a year ago, what would I have done different? What if I knew this 10 years ago, what would I have done different? So I do still think I talk to myself.
You know what I love about this thing? You are talking to your old self and you're making some stuff, making some stuff better for people out there who are in the shoes of Andrew 2.5 years ago. But we're lucky because people tune in and listen. It's just our regular conversation. It really is. People don't realize it. You'll call me and you'll have an idea. And 20 minutes later, it's like, all right. I didn't call to get yelled at. like that could have been an episode. Like we should just be on record all times. People don't even realize like, oh, wow, you guys do so much content. There's 2 more episodes a day that happen that we don't even put out there because we're not recording it.
So last night I took my cousin to, he's learning chess. So took him to chess school, and I was like, I'm not going to go home. I'm just going to go for a walk. By the way, it's funny. The guy that's teaching him chess was the guy who taught me chess as a kid, which is pretty cool. And I went in there after class, and I was like, hey, Roland, do you remember me? He's like, no. I was like, here's my grandfather's name, my grandma's name. He's like, oh, you changed. I was like, I hope so.
I'm not 8.
But I called Cage because I was listening to the Michael Saylor, Patrick Bet-David episode, and one thing that really, really stuck out was the difference between a security and a commodity. And I'm sure many people who listen to this know, but to me, I was like, Cage, this is such a strong case for Bitcoin. The biggest thing between all of those altcoins, and Ethereum included, is that they have an issuer, whereas Bitcoin is a commodity. The difference between a security and a commodity is there is no issuer, right? With lumber, which is a commodity, I could say, hey, Cage, go buy lumber, but that's bad advice because lumber might go down. But I can't sit here and I'm owning lumber stock and I issue it on the market. Whereas with all these cryptocurrencies or with stocks, there's an issuer. There's someone that could pump up a market and then unknowingly issue more stock and then liquidate it on the hobby or on the community. Mm-hmm. So I called him with that, and I thought he was like, what's the advice? What's the takeaway? What should I do? And to me, it was just like, hey, this is just a data point. I was like, it clicked for me, the difference between a security and a commodity. It also clicked for me, like, cards are securities because we don't really know how many are out there. And I know we had this argument because you said Mahomes National Treasures, there's only 99 out there. So those are commodities, but.
You liked yesterday's episode that didn't get recorded. We're going to record it now. I like it.
It's thought provoking. It's thought provoking.
I mean, what the premise that Andrew came to me with was that he had heard something that made him, realize that Bitcoin was not like stocks and other commodities, and that Bitcoin was, was this thing that wasn't issued by anyone. And I said, all right, so there's a finite supply. He's like, well, it's going to break from crypto. Crypto's different, and there's no issuer. And I said, okay, but the conclusion that everyone's making that if that therefore, right, like a science experiment, right, we have like the issue, the hypothesis, the data, we make some guesses about what's going to happen, and then boom, a conclusion after the experiment. So the conclusion people are making about Bitcoin being so awesome is that it's going to be $1 million in 2030. Not your conclusion, but the conclusion that people are making. I don't see that. Bitcoin could be successful. It could be universally adopted. It could be a great thing. It could go up in value, but I don't think it, that necessarily means it's going to have this humongous run up. And what I compared Bitcoin to, because of a finite supply, was I compared it to like, because Andrew's like, you can't compare it. That's like saying it's like a Mahomes 101 iBlack. And I said, no, that's Ripple. Like that's Chainlink. The Mahomes National Treasures out of 99. The true RPA that you know how much there is. They can't make any more of them, blah, blah, blah. That could be your Bitcoin. And we had this fun conversation about it. And, I don't know exactly what the hell we were really talking about, but I still don't.
The conclusion of it was, for me, was that Bitcoin is, it made a compelling argument, or it solidified my belief that Bitcoin is digital gold. And when Cage mentioned that it's going to break away from the crypto community, where Michael Saylor said was every other coin in crypto, it has an issuer except for Bitcoin. So that was the combo. Anyway, we started here talking. You got a little bit of news about Aaron Judge.
No news, but just the rumor mill. And, so it's on MLB Rumors, which is a rumor mill. And, we have the greatest audience in the world. People send me like their rumors. Oh, my cousin's brother's former roommate, sister's uncle knows someone in the Yankees organization. And they're saying he got a 9-year, 360 offer, which is $40 million a year. That takes him to the age of basically 40. Like, he's going to be 31 years old when this next season starts, April of this year. So like 2-3 weeks into the season, he'll be 31. So
he's not exactly an example of health either. Like, he's been injured pretty much every year.
He was healthy this past year when he played for his money. You know what I mean? Like, that's really what and he's a big dude, you expect to break down. But 9 years, 360, it would smash the average value per year for any position player record by a long shot. And break Trout's contract, you name it. It wouldn't be the highest average year for anyone, because Verlander just signed for, I think, like 43.3 a year. I think he got
to the Mets, right?
To the Mets, yeah.
Did you see Kate Upton's quote?
No.
She said, we actually got more money from the Yankees, but we didn't want to join a team that boos its players. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, because people can make up a quote and put her face on it any day.
If you buy a ticket, you have a right to boo your players. I don't care. And I noticed yesterday, I don't want to go back down this road, but I noticed yesterday a lot of sports folks coming on Twitter and saying the same thing. Marlon Humphreys, take a look, a guy who I don't like, because I pulled his Prism out of 25 and sent him a message on Instagram and said, hey, where should I send this? I know you collect cards. How about the clubhouse? How about wherever it is? Just give me a P.O. box and I'll send it to you for free. My kid will be happy to give it to you. You just pull it out of a pack. I got no response, so I hate you. I'm just kidding. But I would have liked a response. But he says yesterday, hey, I could have sworn I heard some boos out of the crowd booing your team, the Ravens here, even though we won the game. I must have been mistaken. I guess they're people too, and they hear the boos and the whole 9 yards. But guess what? This is what fandom is about, right? I mean, you're allowed to cheer and you're allowed to boo. And the Yankees gave a lot of reason to boo in this postseason. The fans had plenty of reason to boo. And for those Yankees fans, what they're paying for those seats and paying the salaries of these guys.
That's crazy to me that you'd say that.
A little thicker skin, you millionaires.
You really, really think that they had every right to boo the Yankees after this historic season?
Historic? What was historic about it?
Dude, your guy hit 62 home runs, man.
Who cares? That's a regular season record. And he stunk it up in the playoffs. This is the thing about this. New York is different. It really is. And New York is different. And I get it. If Kate Upton actually said that, good riddance. Guy wouldn't have thick skin. There are some great players who won't play here. Zach Greinke was offered Yankee, contract and would not play here. He has a fear of playing here. Sonny Gray was a great pitcher. Came here, sucked, left, and was a great pitcher again. There are people
for the A's, right?
For the A's and then the Reds. There's people who can do it, people who can't. The media is amazingly, horrific here. Everything leaks out. Everything is done
Give me three guys who could play in New York. Like that. Three guys who made it in New York.
Jeter.
Okay, cool. Don't go all the way back.
I won't go old, but I mean current guys who made it here. Jeter is the epitome of the Yankee, right? Who played here and made it. Judge has done a great job. I mean, we've heard, I can't believe that booed, but I didn't hear Judge complaining about being booed. He handled the pressure last year amazing. I mean, there was a lot of pressure on him with that record and the whole deal, right? From
Patrick
a football
Ewing
standpoint, Ewing was good, but Ewing was like a little quiet. He was a little reserved. Like, he didn't you really want to go back like Joe Namath. He lit it up, right? But I don't want to go too far crazy back. Football,
Broadway Joe.
Believe it or not, Eli Manning, who's kind of like a quiet guy, he was great here, great under pressure. And listen, New York, that's the difference. The Giants teams that Eli was like a 500 quarterback.
Yeah.
But he's a New York Giants legend because he won when it mattered. He didn't get booed because he won the Super Bowls that he was in, right? That's the difference here. And it's every sport fan's God-given
Michael
right
Strahan?
to boo. Strahan's another one, man. Look, turned into a star.
I think he does Good Day America, right? And that's is that a New York thing or is that just a whole country thing?
Yeah, he's on television. I think there's 3 versions of Good Day or Good Morning America, whatever the hell he's on.
Good Morning,
he's on TV. He's a television personality now. You make it here, you can make it anywhere, right? Isn't that a song, I think?
Sinatra.
And it really is true. So if that's what Kate Upton said, okay, well, guess what? The fans are still New York fans. The Met fans, they're a little different because they're just not used to winning. So, being okay is great for them. But that's going to change too. They had a huge payroll. Their payroll last year was more than the Yankees before they paid $40-something million for Justin Verlander. So there's only a set number of years where the fan base can be told by their billionaire owner that we're gonna go out there, we're gonna win, we're gonna go build this team, and we're gonna win, and the team doesn't perform. They'll get booed too.
Can I talk to you about something? So this, I don't know word. It's surprising. It's shocking. It makes no sense to me. So just talking about fan bases. I don't know if you guys have been watching this whole thing with Deion Sanders, right?
Yep.
Deion Sanders, a legend. I don't know how else you put it. He's a legend in football. One of the greatest cornerbacks of all time. Is that fair to say?
Yes, cornerback. Yes, 100%.
Corner, yeah. Primetime showman. Great athlete. Played baseball. Went to Jackson State and won, right? And now he accepted this job at Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen the video of him talking to the players?
Yes.
You know what? It cracks me up. Did you get a chance to read people's comments? I would never play for this guy. This guy doesn't know what he's doing. How could he talk to his players like that? All of this criticism. And what surprises me is you could win at every single level and have people who have never done it or accomplished sit there and still have the audacity to critique. And I can't understand it because in reality, you're getting a sneak peek, an opportunity to see what it takes to win. And you didn't have that opportunity 3 decades ago, 2 decades ago, without social media. And instead of saying this is interesting, how can I implement this? What are the tactics and strategies he uses to build a winning culture? People sit and they keyboard and type and they're like, this guy's clueless, yet he's proven every level, every step of the way that he's a winner.
I feel like you're talking about yourself. So anyway, if the Giants get the Aaron Judge sweepstakes,
I'm not prime time, man. I'm
not. No, but I feel
time.
Like you're mad at the people out there saying, "Wow, this guy, he's an idiot."
I'm the person that's never won. So, but I'm not going to sit there and have the audacity to criticize people who have won.
Let's switch that around. I believe you win every single day because you wake up with an internal battle. And a lot of folks don't know this. The internal battle that Andrew wakes up with every day is whether or not to do the show. It literally haunts him every day. He doesn't want to do a show every day. He doesn't want to do it. He battles and battles. And then guess what? He gets through those demons. He boos me. He boos the show. He boos us all. And then he shows up and he delivers. And there's a win. Every single day, you do this, win. You're a winner.
I
And there are
appreciate
people
that.
rooting for you to fail. You see them in the comments all the
They're
time.
rooting on my downfall.
Listen, somebody sent me a comment that last night they woke up at 1 a.m. Someone who owns a deli. All right? Someone who actually owns a deli. Woke up at 1 a.m, went back to sleep, and had a dream about you. They opened a cafe in Florida with you because you were talking about your cafe in the episode we were listening to. And I said, you dream about Andrew. Bah! I call those nightmares. That was what I wrote back in my comments to this person.
Dreams and nightmares, Meek Mill.
And they said, no, well, he was talking about it in the episode, and at 1 o'clock in the morning, I may have had to have some like herbal enhancements to put myself back to sleep. And, blah, blah, blah. I mean, these are the comments I get. People listen to you, then they dream about you. So you got to show up and win every day. What are people going to dream about if you're not there?
What's helped me show up every day is the mindset and doing 75 But while we're on this topic, I know we're going to jump around. Maybe this is a whole brain dump week. A lot of you guys that might be looking for a way to do a business in the hobby, I want to shift your attention to a business that I didn't even realize, but the hobby brought me closer. So when I first moved to Florida, I was like, I'm going to do group submissions. So I wanted to open a P.O. box. I went looking around to different post offices, and I landed on this one post office. And when I went in, I was like, this isn't a typical post office. This was a private owned post office. And I said, I didn't realize you could do that. So I got to know the lady in charge, the family in charge, and I see all of this mail getting dropped off. And she has accounts with breakers. So breakers who are in that area take all their packages to her. So what's interesting about this is I never realized private post office is a business. And you know what's crazy? With the world shifting, I don't think these post offices have priced in future potential. I'll give you an example. There's so much online business now where you have to ship. It's not just cards. How many people have Amazon stores, right? Etsy stores, break all the way through. And what was crazy about this is this business model used to be traffic driven, right? You want to have as many people walk in the store as possible. Yep. But if you have 1, 2, 3 big accounts that drop off a few thousand packages every week, that's actually more valuable because I don't know how this works, but she gets 25 cents per scanned package. 25 cents per scanned package. She doesn't have the headache of a restaurant. She doesn't need all the employees of a restaurant. She could have one worker. There's no perishables. There's no headaches. There's very little inventory. You're not at risk of theft because everything goes in and out every day. Insanely awesome business.
So did you buy it from her?
I go in there every single day and I just ask her millions of questions. How did you get into this?
Where'd you buy it?
She actually does, man. She's a really, really awesome family. 3 sons. Some of them listen to our show. She's like kind of like the mayor of Boca Raton. She's awesome. She's so willing to help, and yeah, really, really good people.
Little did you know, joke's on you. Panini Digital is going to make shipping obsolete. So anyway,
NFTs.
Anyway, listen, I'm gonna put a bow on the air and judge 9 for 360. If it goes somewhere else and the Yankees don't match that, which I'm hearing you don't match, I will actually be happy. And I think the way the Yankees work, they'll now have $300 million to work with, and they'll make a splash, whether that's going out and trading for a Juan Soto or trading for Shohei Ohtani, who I think wants out of there. They'd have to give out some prospects and, probably cost them less money. But, yeah.
If Shohei Ohtani leaves, what happens to Shohei's cards? What happens to Mike Trout's card prices? You could say up, down, or nothing.
So for Shohei, I think it depends where he goes. Right? If he goes to a place that's going to give him a better chance to win, and there are a lot of places that give him a better chance to win, I think they actually go up. Because the one thing I think holding his stuff back is that I don't think anybody really gives him a legitimate chance to win there, because Trout's been there, the best player in the league for a decade, and hasn't even come close to meaningful games in October. I think it also is good for Trout and Ohtani, if they're not on the same team. They could both be, number ones on whatever team they are going to be, playing for. It's tough to kind of split the All-Star, split the MVP voting, and that kind of stuff. You split the hobby love as well. You split the fan base. I think it would be good for both of them, to be honest.
How good is Ohtani's pitching? Like, how good is he as a pitcher?
Very.
Very good?
He's a top 10 pitcher. I don't know how long he can do both.
Right.
At the rate that he's doing it, but he had a very good pitching season this past year. I mean,
have you seen the post going around comparing Andrew Jones' stats to Mike Trout's by any chance? And how they're almost carbon copies of each other? Andrew Jones from the Braves. I don't know if you guys remember him.
Andrew Jones is awesome. He was a great player. I mean, surefire.
Him and Chipper, right? Same team?
Chipper, yep. Yeah. And Andrew Jones came up really young and, had a really good peak and, a great defensive center fielder also, kind of tailed off at the end, which I guess is maybe why people are posting that as far as a Trout comparison. But, yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Andrew Jones is awesome.
Fair really comp?
Good. I think Trout has been consistently slightly better than what Andrew Jones was. But Jones played meaningful baseball games. You know what I mean? The Braves played meaningful baseball games in October.
But he was Trout, he was junk wax era too, right? He was 90s.
Yeah.
So I have a play for you guys, and I'll preface this by saying I've really disliked this player. I've disliked this player for a very long time. You guys might even know who it is now that I'm talking about it.
Trae Young.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at that. Right out of the
and I actually put this. I put it like I kind of like type up notes in my notepad, and I'm like, play today, Trae Young, Cage's strategy, because he's been sold off so much. He's been sold off. He's out of sight, out of mind. Does he get moved? Does he leave? Does Nate McMillan get traded? I don't know, but it feels like the lowest of the low point of the Trae Young market since basically COVID. Like,
I'd love to see Trae Young. New York, where he's the villain. Let that villain come to New York, play Madison Square Garden. He fits in that offense because they have nobody who wants to put the ball in the basket. Right. Let them trade away a pick. Let them trade away one of these carbon copy guys, whoever the hell it is.
Send Cam Reddish back to the Hawks.
I mean, it doesn't have to be Cam Reddish, but, neither of these teams seem to be doing anything spectacular. I don't know how you get it done, or you let Trae, I don't know what the deal is. That would be awesome. Because then, RJ Barrett's never going to be the guy, but he could be the number 2 guy. Yeah, man.
I would say RJ is going to be. It could be a Wiggins.
Okay.
You know how Wiggins was. He could be number 3 at times. He shines at number 4. Then he gets confidence, and then there's some games he could be number 2. I agree. Like if you kind of move him down that depth chart. So New York, you want to see him?
Yeah. I think that would revive the interest in his cards. New York basketball hasn't had somebody to root for in a very, very long time.
The Charles Sprewell.
Not during the hobby relevance period either. Seriously. Like, think about if Linsanity happened when people were buying cards now. I mean, it would be Bol on crack, We haven't had that. Turns out Chris Tapps Porzingis, whatever the heck his name is, KP, can actually play a little bit. Don't count out the Wizards. They're actually a pretty damn good team. But he was never loved here, and he never really played here, and he was injured here, and, it was never really his team. But, yeah, man, Patrick Ewing, I mean, who's the last one? Allen Houston?
There's an account in the hobby called Pack Drip Ewing, and it's probably we should. Oh, by the way, Luka Nation. So we're doing this. You might have seen a post on our IG, but we're bringing back the Hobby Awards, second annual Hobby Awards,
yeah.
And they were just fun last year. Like, it was just a way to shout out people, businesses, themes, topics, whatever, etc. that happened in the last year that we want to shed a light on. So if you guys go to our Instagram and you want a topic featured, or you want to give someone a shout out that you think people should have a chance to vote for, drop a comment. And basically, we're going to be doing a post every day or every other day from now till Christmas, which is maybe 19 days from now. Then we'll tally up the results and share them with you guys.
So, it was a lot of fun last year. And even if you don't get nominated, you go on there and you post and, shout out somebody who you like. Right. People might find them through that, And we'll have. Go ahead.
And we'll do our best to get as many people nominated as possible. But obviously, we can't know everyone in the hobby. So we rely on you guys to leave a comment. Say, this is a cool topic, right? A funny one we got was best hobby drama of the year. I would have never thought about that. It was hilarious.
Best hobby beef, baby.
Best hobby beef.
That's it. Andrew at Culture Collision. Didn't really have a beef with anyone other than just life.
They gave me one teammate for a 3-on-3 tournament, dude. And then I didn't play well either. And then Jeff Wilson's camera guy shoved the camera in my face.
Yeah. I mean, guys, if you haven't played that episode, go ahead and go back to February, I think it was, and play that one. That was an all-timer.
And the underlying, like the bubbling was, I was on full tilt with NFTs and betting at the time.
Oh, full tilt. It was amazing. It was great. I'll never forget it. I was at a friend's house and Jeff Wilson called me. He's like, did I do something to Andrew?
Can I get Andrew's number?
I was like, no, that's just Andrew.
His parents did something to him when he was a kid, probably. You don't need to take responsibility for this.
Yeah, so listen, the awards are a good thing. It's an end-of-year thing. It's one of those things, let's put a capper on the hobby year. 2022 was an interesting time in the hobby. There's a lot of other type of content out there. Nothing wrong with it. We'll even probably have a category for that other type of, that trophy will be given out made of tinfoil, so you guys could use it if you like to make hats. But no, this is like the positivity side. This is like everybody can have, get behind this, right? Tell us what you love. Tell us the people you love. Tell us the people you listen to. Tell us the people who are great at shows. Tell us the best in-person dealer. Tell us the best LCS that you go to. Tell us the best show you go to. We have a ton of categories, but we don't have an exhaustive list, and we'd love to hear from you guys on, an idea and, people. We'll expand it. Last year, I think we had 5 or 6. We're going to definitely have probably double that, if not more, this year as far as like categories. And we have a nice, cool little announcement when everybody's, done with their Christmas and, before New Year's. It's fun.
And there's no shame in plugging what you're working on. There's no shame in plugging. Yeah, plug it. That's what it's made for. Like, it could be, hey, I started X. I would love to be nominated. That's what we're here for. So,
I mean, like within the first hour it was posted, Gio from Sports Card Nonsense went right on there, commented, and plugged himself. He wants to be nominated as the tallest hobby podcaster out there. I don't think he has a shot at that, but he's trying. I mean, you got to give him credit for trying.
Jay Lee might be 2X, literally.
Jay Lee's tall.
Jay Lee's tall. Dude, there's some people in the hobby that are really tall. Any topics for you? Like, I've one, but anything that's top of mind?
So, a couple things. Number one, we have a friend who said the Portuguese coach should be flogged for benching Ronaldo. And then we have another friend who came on in response and said they'll probably be up 2-0 at halftime at least. It changes the game. He can come in later on in the game. He's taking away opportunities from people who would actually score if given those opportunities. Sorry, Cajun. But yeah, I mean, Andrew, this was you. Can you talk a little bit about soccer for today? Because I got to give you credit. 99% of the time, what you say gives me a headache and makes me dumber. This 1% of the time, you were dead on balls accurate.
Well, 2 things, actually. I realize the hobby does not care about the World Cup at all.
They don't.
Is that fair to say?
People have messaged me and they're like, stop talking about soccer. First of all, you don't even know what you're talking about. And second of all, you still don't know what you're talking about.
Fine. And we were at the Philly show, like, a few people had soccer cards, but, like, the World Cup was on, and the USA was on, and I don't think anyone cared. Is it fair?
Yeah,
okay.
Pretty much.
So, fine. It is what it is. I love the game. I hope Portugal plays Brazil, but here's the thing. Shout out to Ramos, man. What 3 goals and an assist. He basically burst onto the scene. It was I think it was one of his first, or maybe his first game ever starting. You're starting to see the cream rise to the top, and this Portuguese team, I've said it all tournament long, they have no weaknesses, right? One of the Brazilian weaknesses, or I still don't know their strength, if it could be their defense. Their defense hasn't faced a worthy opponent that could truly put pressure on them. Where Portugal and this Portuguese team has an amazing combination of playmakers, players that could create chances and run at the defense, goal scorers and Ronaldo. It has young talent, João Feliz. It has experience in Pepe, who looks like Schmeichel at 39 years old, scored a header goal. To me, in my opinion, this is the best team assembled.
Pepe had the best celebration. He got that goal with a header, and he ran to the corner and said, "My precious."
He looks like Schmeichel, doesn't he?
It was awesome. It was great.
I'm not proud of it, but we used to shave people's heads at freshman year of soccer, and there was one kid who was the coach's son who actually looked like Pepe, and we shaved his head, and it looked like Schmeichel, and we literally called him Schmeichel for 4 years. I did not shave his head. I was a sophomore.
So from a hobby perspective, right, what is the takeaway for the people listening that you learned that World Cup's going on? It is the thing. It is the soccer event that happens once every 4 years. Sure, we're going to roll into Champs League right after this, which is pretty awesome. And yes, I know that. Oh, my goodness. Gooner, I'm becoming a soccer fan. But if the hobby doesn't care, what's your takeaway from that from a card perspective?
Well, does the hobby care about hockey?
A niche cares about hockey, yes.
I would compare soccer as maybe like a JV version of hockey. Like
Okay.
I say the same thing. I see a really strong collector base. I don't see a lot of pumping. I don't see a lot of manipulation. I see a lot of true collectors who love soccer, been watching it for years, who just want to buy cards of their favorite players. I think the one challenge with soccer, and it'll play itself out over the next 6-7 years, is the rookie stamp. Say what you want, we love rookie stamps, and I love you PWCC, but not every card is a rookie. If you can't just name every card a rookie, it's hard to know which one is the rookie of like what's Mbappe's rookie, you know? Is it a sticker? Is it 2017 Select? Is it 2018 Prism? Right? It's really hard to know. So I think that caused confusion for the first 4 years. But I think as the rookie stamp plays out, it's just going to take time to really develop the market. That's what I say.
All right. Makes sense. And it's smart. I mean, it's one of those things that doesn't have the history of cards, so rookie is loosely defined. It's why you can Google what is Muhammad Ali's rookie card and get 10 different answers. What is Pele's rookie card has actually changed in the last 2 years.
Right, and you're seeing what's the card? The one that's a black number and the blue number on the back. What's that card called?
Aquarella.
No, I forgot. But
no, that's the Alifa Baloget is the little one. I'm telling you, like Aquarella.
Aquarella, you are absolutely right. That card has sold way more in the last even 6 months than it has in like the last 5 years combined.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't totally understand. I actually think that's his best looking rookie card, just purely aesthetic. I think that's going to be a challenge. But I will say, unlike, you know how F1 was pumped to the moon and then came back?
Yeah.
Well, what happens when a pump goes on is a lot of people are stuck holding the bag, and it leaves a bad taste in their mouth, in my opinion.
Right.
And it takes a long time to get that out of their mouth. I think that's going to happen with NFTs.
Have that in your mouth.
You don't want to have that in your mouth. People don't want Top Shot in their mouth, right? Like, I think it's fair to say that soccer hasn't left that bad taste in investors' mouth. So people are still enjoying it. It's still truly a hobby. It's, hey, I'm buying the guy I like. Like, I like Pulisic, and it's affordable, man. I got a Pulisic gold out of 50 for like $150, and it was number 10, which is his jersey number. That same card in a BGS 9 sold for $35.
Wow.
A Pulisic gold. It's not his rookie. It's a second year. But still, that's affordable. That's an opportunity to get a cool card, a nice card, a card that you know the serial number of.
You're talking like a collector. Congratulations.
Well, I think what makes hockey so strong is there's truly a collector base of hockey.
Can I give you the hottest take of all hot takes and
Give
costs a lot of money? What makes hockey strong is that there was no Panini in it, and there was no Topps really in it. It's been Upper Deck the entire time. There has not been this crazy printing. There has not been this lunatic fucking Prism run. I cursed. I'm sorry, guys. I know people actually complimented me at the show for how clean our stuff is. But, UFC exploded Pumpy Dumpy when they brought out the Prism stuff. There was a collector base there for a decade, right? WWF, there was a collector base there. A corner of the market that loved that stuff, and it was organic. And then WWE Panini Prism came out, and a pumpy dump happened, right? This crazy explosion of the cards, and it didn't happen in hockey because there was no Prism. You could even say in soccer, 2014, not so much. The 2018 World Cup Prism stuff with Mbappe, just the mass-produced stuff was what took off. It was the first thing that people were chasing. I love Panini and all that stuff, but where there's smoke, there's fire, right?
I'm worried, man. I'm worried about Panini employees. I got to be honest with you, because we don't know who makes the decisions at Panini, right? But we do know some of the employees because they're true collectors. And they're the ones that are like the face of the company in a way, because we don't know who truly the face is. So they deal with all the brunt of the negativity and all the backlash of redemptions, all that stuff, even though they have no control over it.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely true. But, my take on it is, I guess hockey realized there wasn't going to be this huge run of fans and the whole deal. And they didn't bump printing numbers up. And, upper deck. So I don't know. That it's just funny that we talk about hockey as this separate kind of collector base that hasn't gone through a run. It's organically the only index, depending on what index you look at, that's up this year.
Right.
And the one thing that's missing from hockey that you have basically everywhere else is Prism. Although they had, I guess 2012 Prism, there was like that anthology one. I've seen some Prism hockey cards out there. I had a Sidney Crosby, but yeah, you don't
I actually
see.
was thinking of learning a little more about hockey, so I'm like reading up on it, following some groups like Kaprizov on the Wild or someone. I'm like, maybe I should look into his cards. He came up a little later than Connor McDavid, so maybe he might. But I don't like to jump into stuff that I don't know. I've an economic theory, and tell me if this is negative. So we talk about negativity, positivity, and right, we have the tinfoil hats guys who are labeled as such. But why did I don't want to. Like, why did I gravitate towards AIH or Sports Card Radio, or why did I think that
Because you're a sad
those?
little man.
Sure, that's, and I understand how that could be the perception interpretation. But say what you want. Maybe they talk. Maybe the stuff out of their mouths isn't hits hard, and it hits. It doesn't always fall right, but they're consistent, and they truly have been in the hobby for a minute. They want to be here. Sports Card Radio has been in here for a while. AIH, he's been actually doing videos for 2-3 years. So even though the stuff doesn't fall or land well, I do believe that they still love this hobby from their own perspective. Whereas I've talked to people who are, you would think that they're positive, but when you talk to them where they're actually putting their money, they don't put their money in the hobby. They buy real estate or other stuff and stock. Right. And if their friends ask them where they should put their money, they're not endorsing and bringing people into the hobby. They're actually saying this is not where you should bring your money. Even though on the surface,
go ahead.
Even on the surface, you think that they're positive.
So AIH had, if you listen to his content, you think, oh, it's negative. So he's not. He has given some really great card plays. When we talked to him directly, he was like, I'm buying Mantle and Mays, and I'm buying like Jackie Robinson, Hank Aaron, not high grade, not rookies, but the stuff that it's not being made anymore. And he was picking up Willie Mays cards third, fourth year in mid grade for a couple $100 each. He's like, these are the cards that will hold value and will continue to go up in value, when the market does its thing again. And you're right. I say tinfoil hat just because it's an easy way to lump everybody together, and everyone knows what I'm talking about. But yes, the people who are pumping a little bit of hobby realism, they were here before the run-up, and you could say that, the common thread that binds is that they are looking for a way to, kind of call out the shenanigans that have gone on just during this crazy run. People who are in it and probably won't stay in it. Because these folks were in it before that. So,
I'd ask you guys, what do you think is negativity? Because I want to bring this up, and you guys tell me, this to me seems negative, but it's just the reality. So I love economics, and I was listening to a podcast, and we, as a society right now in the U.S., have the lowest savings in the history of America. The lowest savings in the history of America. Okay? Add that on with the fact that interest rates have gone up and cost of living has gone up. So here's what I'm seeing economically, and I don't think it's a good outlook for cards, but we'll see how it plays out. Your cost of living has gone up, which drains savings accounts, right? You need to pay more, life costs more, etc. At the same time, if you have a credit card, right, and you were paying, let's say 3%, 5%, 7% interest on it, now you're paying 10, 12, 25% interest, right?
Yep.
So at the same time that your expenses have gone up, your savings have dwindled, your interest on those credit cards have gone up. And people, I think, are just going to get squeezed and squeezed and squeezed and squeezed and squeezed to the point where they have no option but to sell their assets. So we're going to, I would start thinking, and I'm not going to short the market, but how do you short leisure? How do you short recreation? Because it's not that people don't want to do these things, right? They're just not going to have the money in the next 2 years to be able to do that.
And short vacation stocks.
Short vacation, Disney World, going to stadiums, all that stuff, all the non-necessities right? All the stuff with elastic demand, as they call it. Um, and what happens is they'll have to sell their assets, right? That's why you're going to see a supply shock and continuous supply shock of cards. That's why you're going to see more houses on the market. That's why you're going to see housing prices drop. So is that negative or is that realism? If we're truly investing and understanding market cycles, don't we have to at least have that discussion?
Well, I mean, listen, the difference is this. If you're preaching a downturn in the hobby,
I'm
that
preaching saving
is
cash,
that
actually.
is
Like if I was
negative. But if it's based on actual data, like you have a reason why you think that's going to happen, then in your work, that is data driven realism, right? That is I have a position, I have a stance, I have a take, and here's how I support it, right? That's different than like the meme stuff. That's like,
sure.
hey, look at this guy's a fraud.
Right.
I've told probably a dozen people this week to be careful with the word fraud. Like take a look at what the word fraud actually means before calling somebody a fraud.
Is SBF a fraud?
Not a good word.
Reserve judgment.
Dude, that I can't believe some of the stuff that's going on with that. I don't even want to get into
That's
crypto.
insane.
We
Let's
started
not
with
go there.
crypto. I don't want to go into crypto, but I mean, you know what's awesome? The hobby. It's little cardboard pieces with pictures of athletes and non-athletes and the whole deal on them. And look at all the offshoots of it. Look at all the businesses that are on it, the content, the different ways of going about content, the hobby drama, the back and forth, the craziness, and you expand it into memorabilia. I mean, think of some of the cards that have sold recently. I mean, the premier auction that is ending in a week has, for PWCC, has another Tom Brady out of 100 championship ticket. It's got a LeBron, exquisite out of 99. It's got 6 stuff. Golden Auctions has the Judge Ball ending, I think, on December 17th. Like, that's going soon. That 60-second homer is already over $1 million. I think it was Memory Lane. God, go take a look at what Memory Lane's auction just ended this past weekend. I mean, just crazy, 33 Gaudy Roots in PSA 8s, but the topper was a 51 Bowman Mantle rookie in PSA 9. I think sold for like 3 and change, 3 point something million dollars. So you want to talk about hobby negativity, positivity, those are headlines that people are not putting out there because they don't like sell, right? It's not sexy, right? It should be. People should realize this hobby has been here for forever and will be here forever. And there's still somebody out there who is willing to shell out $3 million for this card. But, what you don't want to hear is the reason for it is because it hasn't sold in 4 years. And the last time it sold, it was like a quarter of the price. It's gone 4x since. That's scarcity. It's got real value. It's like a piece of art and all that other fun stuff, right? It's not an Erling Haaland, Bundesliga PSA 10. It's a different animal, but it's part of the same hobby we're all operating in. So anyway, there's a lot of really cool high-end stuff going on out there. There's documentaries coming. They had this one. I haven't seen this one that was out yet. The one that they have like Rob G sitting in what looks like a crack house somewhere.
Behind the card?
Yeah, that one. I didn't watch that one. I guess I should. Maybe when it comes out for free, I'll watch it. I got to save my money, man. Andrew just told me cost of living's going up and I'm having to sell my assets. I can't afford to watch this thing. But there's other
you'd pay for it if it had people that actually were in the industry in it, if we could be honest. Like if it was actually a documentary made about the hobby, not the documentary made about drama in the hobby to kind of get people going. I mean, I didn't watch it either. So, but that was the vibe I got from
gets the
our
people
community.
going.
Like, I don't know. Why do you put Vegas Dave in it? What value does he bring? Because he bought a big card?
Because he's fun. I was Vegas Cage.
I don't know what's fun about him.
Dude.
He's a fraud. He's defrauded millions of people.
Is
man.
he? Or was he doing exactly what you said to do, which was, hey, guys, be careful with your cards. This whole thing is going to fall, on top of each other. And Gary Vee says these cards are going to be $1 million, and I say they're going to be worth nothing. And he's closer to right.
He built up an email list in sports betting and said half of his plays to half of one side of a play to
that's
one
half
of those.
He did.
I mean, if you've been in the betting industry from when you used to circle lines and call your guy, because it all started on Covers Forum. That was the forum. That was the blowout forum of the DGen sports betting community.
We should talk more sports betting. You have some
It's
sports
actually
betting
sickening
knowledge.
that I know that. I was 15 years old. 15 years old. What was I doing?
Crack.
Literally sports crack. Why did I go down that
You
road?
were John Anthony. You were the $1 million man with the $1 billion plan.
Anthony John.
Listen, so hobby wise, lots of cool auctions going on, right? Lots of cool content, lots of great stuff. Guys, go check out also obviously Cajun puts his stuff on our channel. You want to talk about like the different stuff that's there, but you can check out his channel. Go follow Cajun, Black Jaded Wolf. I do an episode every other Monday. Black Jaded Wolf on Cage. We've done 4 of those. Go follow them. Go take a look at their content. Over at Black Jaded Wolf. Just amazing stuff, different stuff, and we are in the process of adding another show to our network, which you'll see coming out very soon, probably in the next week and a half, right, Andrew?
Yep.
On that one, so you'll have a new content creator under the network as well, with a different type of
1 week from today,
focus.
actually, the 13th.
There we
next
go.
Tuesday.
So Cajun stuff that he's putting out there. You want to give a quick synopsis of what people can find on our network?
Yeah. People love the PWCC weekly recaps, right? So after the weekly auctions are done, Cage just kind of goes through and gives us 2 cents on the highest sales. Then we do an NBA show every Wednesday, which is like 1 week at a time, kind of like what's happening in the NBA, what we're seeing. We both love talking basketball. And then he does an explore the card. So if you guys don't know, Cajuns a huge Michael Jeffrey Jordan collector. Actually, the first time we actually had a call, he literally talked about Michael Jeffrey Jordan, and he loves. You laugh because Jeffrey, he loves Jordan cards. Yeah, he loves Jordan cards, loves Jordan, loves inserts. So he goes through like the history, and it's a very niched out type of piece of content. So, but it's evergreen, as Cage likes to say. It's something that maybe you're not buying Jordan inserts now because it's out of your price range, but it's something you can come back to a year from now, 2 years from now, 6 months from now. And it's just a way to kind of do a deep dive. But what you guys would have to realize, like, we don't want this channel just to be about us. We want this channel to be about you guys. And that's been from the get, right? It's what kind of content is interesting to you. I haven't said this in a while, but we would never charge you guys for the content. That was, if you remember those first episodes, because when you charge people for content, I think it changes the entire game. We want this to be kind of like a digital library, digital video library, where you guys come to and everyone has something to go and listen to, whether you're a collector, an investor, you want to take a deep dive in someone's personal collection, you want to understand what's happening in the auctions, you want to understand what's happening in the NBA season. Maybe we'll do a baseball show or something like that. So just, we understand everyone has different preferences, just like everyone has different, they love different flavors of ice cream. We want this channel to be your one-stop shop for that.
You're like a rum raisin kind of guy, right?
No, pistachio, you know that.
Yeah, no.
Pistachio, but pistachio, here's the key. There's some pistachio that's just pistachio and they don't actually spend the time to put the nuts inside. Pistachio with nuts. You have to have the nuts. You have to have a little bit of crunch.
It doesn't surprise me that you are a nut. So,
I love nuts.
Guys, check that out.
And your comments are our oxygen.
Yeah,
so if you love it, let us know. If you want a new segment, let us know.
Yep. And follow Andrew, follow Cajun, follow me. I do, a collectible, little quick hitter, with things that are up and down on their platform, buys and sells. It's fun stuff. Comment on that. Tell me I'm an idiot, do that fun stuff. But we got a lot of stuff out there, depending on where you listen, you might not even see all the stuff. Come check us out on Instagram. Give us a follow on YouTube. What do they call it? Subscribe, right? So subscribe. That way, when the new stuff drops next week, you'll know about it. Put your notifications on, I think is what they tell people to do. Smash that Andrew button and all that other fun stuff. But yeah, I mean, one of the things and why I mentioned Cajun is we got a lot of comments about an episode I did with Cajun where we went over the PWCC premiere. Yeah. And a lot of people listened to that and watched that. And it was like an hour and a half, 2 hours long.
Cajun
just got
50% listen to the entire thing, 80% listen to basically the full thing, and it is over 1,100 listens just on YouTube in the first day. In the first day, that's hands down one of our most popular videos of all time, and that's just YouTube, not even podcast and audio, which is most of our listeners. Yeah.
So I mean, what we talked about actually was expanding it outside of just basketball. Because a lot of you guys do more than just basketball. Basketball is huge, but we're going to throw some baseball, some football, a whole 9 yards. We're definitely going to do that. We're going to do another one of those, and we're going to see if you guys continue to like that, and we'll throw those out there monthly, as well after the premiere auctions. I love cutting it up with Cage. It's very technical, pulls the cards up, talks about them. We talk about what it's sold for, comps, whether it's high, low. We'll talk about some surprises. So we got a lot of stuff out there on the horizon, and we'd love to hear from you guys to tell us what we're not doing, right? Keep the comments coming. Follow. I just crossed 3,500 followers. Can you believe that, Andrew?
I know you love the numbers. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know there are 3,500 people in the hobby. It's amazing. And you know how many of them I bought?
0.
2.
Because we don't know how.
I don't know. Somebody mentioned that to me. Hey, this guy bought followers. I'm like, how do you do this? Like, do you put? I mean, is there like some you click? Like, I don't know. I don't know what the hell's going on.
If I may have 60 seconds. So
Shoot.
As we're going into year 3, you know how football has football season ends, they give the players a few months off, and then free agency starts on a certain date, and they do free agency goes from this date to this date, right? What I've learned as we've gone through this hobby cycle 3 times, December is sort of influencer or podcast free agency. So just keep in mind, guys, this month is kind of when we're planning for 2023. And I'll just give you a little peek under the covers. We go into every one of these calls with our partners with, hey, what can we do for you? What do we get out of it? And how can we benefit our community? That's every single call. That's the framework. What can we do for you and your business? What do we get out of it? And how does that benefit our community? So stay tuned.
That's not a minute. That's only 40 seconds. And what Andrew's not saying there is he's a free agent. This is free agent period for Andrew. So if you're listening to this and you got a business idea for Andrew, he's all ears. You want to do something with the show? Give him a call. You got a company out there that you think we should be talking about? We should be telling our audience about? You want to give us some sort of discount code and help out our audience? That's really what this whole thing is supposed to be about. Folks calls up, hey, I got this. I got this display. I got this. We'll give a discount code, whatever it may be. We're not too good for that stuff. Give me a break. We'd love to, talk the business up, and if get something for the people who are listening. That's really, back to basics for 2023. I mean, really, that's Andrew and I've been talking about that a lot. Because it's been a crazy bumpy ride, and what worked in 2021 is not going to work in 2023. And really, we want to make sure that you guys who are we count these numbers, we throw thousands out there. Each one of those is a person. It's somebody who's listening to this sentence right now, and we appreciate each and every one of you. We want to really bring value to you guys in the hobby. Make sure you stay here, because the big companies, they're not doing their part. They're not giving you the croissants that Andrew said they should be giving. We'll do our part, because then it makes everything easier for everybody else. You got to stay in the hobby.
For sure. Dude, I mean, honestly, I was thinking about this on my walk today. I think that through our audience, we were able to pioneer free grading. And I don't know anyone else who's ever done that. And it didn't even seem like that big of a deal. But looking back, I'm like, that was so cool that we got the chance to do that.
Free grading.
And I'd like to keep trying to do initiatives and stuff like that. That's I consider it win-win-win.
I think it's a win-win-win. Anything else sports-wise? Ian wore a Luka jersey today because Luka had a big game and a win.
I hate the Luka to Harden comparisons. I think people miss how good of a passer and how willing of a passer Luka is. Maybe Luka is a high usage guy like Harden, but his passing is on par with LeBron. So that was just something I was thinking about today.
You gave a play. I'll give one also. Guys, take a look at Mark Jackson cards. They're pennies. Start a Mark Jackson PC, right? Nick, St. John's. So he's a guy, I used to be a Nick fan, little St. John's. But I was shocked.
The one with the 2 murderers in the background?
That's a fun one, but it's not. Yeah, that's a fun one. It's good. That's the Menendez brothers. It's funny that that's exactly where you would go, you psycho. So what's funny, though, is LeBron just moved into number 6 all-time in assists for a career because he's played forever. He's 147 years old. He's going to fight Joe Louis next. And he passed Magic. And everybody else in that top 5 is a point guard. And they're point guards Nash, Jason Kidd, right? I mean, the John Stockton, right? They're all Hall of Famers. They're all clear-cut, first ballot, awesome Hall of Famers, top 75. Do you know who next in line for LeBron is at number 5? Is Mark Jackson. Shocking. I had no idea. I had no clue. Obviously, people know who he is. He coached, right? You know, he played for the Pacers, played for the Knicks. Dude should be a Hall of Famer. I don't know if that matters as much in basketball as it does in baseball, but like people were buying Fred McGriff this week because he's now going to be a Hall of Famer. You know, people bought Harold Baines' card because he's a Hall of Famer. It's just one of those things. I know he's also junk wax kind of, era for his rookies.
Do you think people buy Fred McGriff and Harold Baines because they're going to go to like an autograph show that Joe puts on at Chantilly or Philly and get those cards signed, maybe?
That's part of it. People also collect Hall of Fame rookie cards without getting them autographed. There are people who just collect, Hall of Famers. I think in the, NBA, one of the things I'm starting to do is build up a little side PC in basketball of top 75 players. One cool card of somebody who was in the top of everybody who was in the top 75. That's what I got, that Gervin card that I showed you the other day.
No sick.
For that little side PC there. I have Isaiah Thomas 2012 Prism Gold. That's my cool card.
You got it so
Isaiah.
cheap. That was just like a bargain buy for you.
It was fun. Yeah.
Dude, Draymond Green hanging all over LeBron's nuts does not sit well with me.
What the
I don't know.
hell?
Did you see the
porno are you watching?
Did you see the Domino's game where like Draymond's talking about, why LeBron is the greatest and how LeBron beat the greatest team ever assembled? There's like a video. Draymond,
so he's basically talking himself up. That's why.
Correct. And here's the flawed logic in it. LeBron might have beaten the best team ever assembled, but Jordan was the best team ever assembled. And the reason that was the best team ever assembled was because of how good Jordan was. So it's just, I don't understand why a current player is all over another current player. Like, okay, retire and then tell us how great LeBron is. Fine, you could make every argument, but you're still competing against him. And here you are sort of like, and this hasn't happened just one time. I know they're buddies, but I don't know. It just doesn't, I don't get it. And I love Draymond too. You know that, Cage.
Mm-hmm. Can I throw a fun one out there for folks?
Sure.
In addition to Mark Jackson, because clearly people are not going to go out and buy Mark Jackson. I gave a play last week and completely jinxed the guy, and he was hurt literally days later. I said, go Jimmy Garoppolo, low downside. What's going to happen? He's going to either make the Super Bowl or he's not. He's going to get traded. I didn't expect him to break his foot and be out for the rest of the year, but this is part of the story when you talk about cards. You talk about investing in cards and the whole deal. I also noticed that I talked about the OTE cards for the Thompson twins, and basically all of them disappeared from eBay.
Really?
Gone the next day.
Oh, you do the thing like where you favorite them and then you get the email?
All gone. Just gone. No, and people message me. Like, these are all gone. These are all gone. They disappeared. And I look and I'm like, shit, they're all gone. So but I have one. You're not going to like it. I'm going to get hate. But this may be your window right now to buy Dak Prescott cards. Because I think they are going to add Odell Beckham as another weapon for him. I was fearful of the Niners and the Niners defense with the Cowboys. The Cowboys also have a very good defense, but I think that the Cowboys' path to the Super Bowl with that Garoppolo injury just got significantly easier, probably the easiest path they're going to have in a very long time. You have a 500 Tom Brady. You have an Aaron Rodgers out. You don't have Drew Brees anymore, to stop these guys. You don't have, a juggernaut there. You have a team in the Eagles that is likely better, but you have a quarterback who has never been there before against a quarterback who has played some meaningful games. I mean, Dak has also not been there before.
For sure.
But that Dallas defense can cause some problems for that Philly offense. And I think you could make
there will be no
argument now.
surprises in that game either, just because those teams know each other as well as any team.
Dak's cards have been beat to shit. He was injured for a while this year. Remember, we were talking about a quarterback controversy with Cooper Rush, how we've forgotten him pretty quickly. His cards are beat to hell. It's like a low-risk kind of flyer play that if he gets to the Super Bowl, you could have a nice little play there on your hands with Dak rookies. Anything can happen. The Niners can still go to the Super Bowl, even with, Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant as the quarterback.
Right.
But I just think, Jerry Jones has a wallet. He doesn't mind spending. I think he sees the window opening for his team to maybe get there this year. I think he would probably spend the money on Odell. If you watch the Dallas game last night, the Dallas crowd was cheering OBJ. OBJ, he was there sitting courtside. You know, those. Read too much into
I
that,
agree.
but-
I see. There's a lot of buy signals, so to speak, right? One, I mean, the Cowboys are good. I mean, they're 9-3, but they actually have a better point differential than the Eagles, which is crazy. OBJ is the type of guy that I don't know how much he actually adds on the field, but he brings a lot of attention through his personality. And that defense, man, that defense.
Very helpful to the Rams last year. You don't need him. You
He
don't
was my
need
Super
him.
Bowl MVP, Cage, until he got injured.
I know.
That was a pretty decent bet for like $100. I think
It
it
was,
like
and he started
30.
off great.
Yeah, dude, Dak's a feel good story too. I don't love the Cowboys, but like his brother committed suicide. He's been through so much ups and downs. Like we love a feel good story in America.
Yeah,
love
injury, came back, injured again, came back.
Broken ankle, right? That was a gruesome
it was
injury.
a bad one. Yeah, he eats his chunky soup. I mean, he does his stuff, man. You know?
Is that another episode? We'll be back tomorrow.
I mean, we just crossed the hour. Might as well. See you guys tomorrow. Thank you for everything. Everybody who's listening to this, we appreciate each and every one of you.
And go subscribe to Cajun Cardboard's channel.